We're going to start in mountain pose. This is a yoga practice for stability for your body, especially stability for your spine. I heard an orthopedic doctor on the news a couple of days ago talking about how most of us, if we're really staying at home right now, we're probably going to have a little bit more back pain, maybe neck pain than normal. And that's because sitting is not that great for your spine. So we're going to try to work out some of that tension, but also build some stability so that your spine is safer. So we're going to use three key features of spinal stability. They're called bandhas in yoga. And the first one is Mula Bandha, which is your root lock. And it's like a Kegel. So stand in mountain pose with your arms by your sides. Take a deep breath in and lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, lift your pelvic floor muscles up. Like a Kegel, you feel your deep belly drawing in. And then relax and take a deep breath in. And do it again. Exhale, lift your pelvic floor muscles up. Try to hold them up until you finish exhaling, and then relax them. Take a deep breath in. Stand up tall again. Let's try one more round. Exhale, lift your pelvic floor muscles up. Try to hold them up. And then relax. Inhale. Now this next one, Uddiyana Bandha, is your navel lock. As you exhale, squeeze your navel to your spine, lift your pelvic floor muscles up, and we're going to start to add some movement. So relax and inhale, lift your heels, take your arms out and up. See if you can keep your heels lifted, take your hands to your heart, and as your hands come down, lift your pelvic floor muscles, pull your navel in. Set your heels down, inhale, reach your arms out and up, and then lift your heels when your arms come to the top. Exhale, hands to your heart, lift your pelvic floor muscles, pull your navel way in towards your spine. Set your heels down, inhale, reach your arms up, and now lift your heels. Exhale, lift your pelvic floor muscles, pull your navel towards your spine, set your heels down. Now grab your strap to feel this last bandha, or last lift or lock. This is for your neck. Okay, we're going to take our strap, or whatever we have to substitute, behind the base of our skull. So if you're not sure where that is, your occipital bones, you can use your fingers and find the knobby bones at the base of your skull. And then hook your strap up around your occipital bones. Lift your hands just a little bit higher than your eye line and start to push your head back into your strap and pull forward and slightly up with your strap. Drop your shoulders. Now the rest of our body should be in mountain pose. So feet underneath your hips. Start to just gently lift your pelvic floor muscles up and squeeze your navel towards your spine. And then push a little bit more firmly, or trying to glide your skull back against the resistance of the strap. And that should cause your throat muscles to tighten. Take another deep breath in. And deep breath out. And then lower your strap and set it to the side. All right, so we're going to come back into our mountain pose again. So these three simple reminders, it's really a drawing in and up. So pelvic floor in and up, navel in and up, throat in and up a little bit. It should help your spine get longer. So let's try using all of them. Inhale, lift your heels up again, take your arms out and up. This time, bring your arms down and set your heels down and find your three bandhas the whole way through. You don't have to lift them as hard as possible, just a little bit, maybe between 10 and 30% of your full effort will help support the base of your spine, then your low back, and then your neck. Those are the three most vulnerable places in your spine. So take a few more rounds here and find that Mula Bandha, pelvic lock, Uddiyana Bandha, your navel lock, and Jalandhara Bandha, your throat lock, helping to lift and support your whole spine. Let's try one more round here. Inhale. Good, and exhale. Good. Now, step your feet out slightly wide. Angle your toes out and heels in. Bring one of your hands to your low belly and the other hand to your lower back. And smush yourself like you're like you're squeezing a panini in a panini maker. Try to use your muscles to squeeze in from the front and squeeze in from the back. Now drop your shoulders. Try not to let shoulder tension creep up. Take a deep breath in. We're going to do a 3-stage horse stance. Exhale, bend your knees a tiny bit. Squeeze in a little bit more. Low belly, lift your pelvic floor. Then bend your knees a little bit more. Take a peek and make sure your knees and your toes are pointing in the same direction. If they're not, adjust them. And then maybe you bend just a little bit more with your knees. Draw in. Your spine should be lifted and vertical. Now take your hands behind your head and add your Jalandhara Bandha. So navel in, pelvic floor lifting, throat back. Inhale, straighten your legs. Push your head back into your hands. Exhale, 3 stages. Bend a little deeper, bend a little deeper. Inhale, stand up. Find your 3 bandhas and then exhale, bend your knees, then a little bit more, sink your pelvis down, then a little bit more. Inhale, come on up. Remind your throat to engage, squeeze your navel in, lift your pelvic floor, bend, bend, bend. And one more time. Inhale, push your head back into your hands. Exhale, bend, a little deeper, and then come on up to stand. Bring your arms down and heel toe or hop your feet together. I'm going to turn sideways so you have a different view of this. So we're going to do chair pose this time, and we're going to use that 3-stage lowering method. This time you'll start feet under your hips and feet parallel, hands to your hips. Take a deep breath and stand up tall and find your pelvic floor lock, your navel lock, your throat lock. As you exhale, tilt forward, chest forward, butt back, and then bend your knees a tiny bit. An inch or 2, hips go down toward the floor. Then bend a little bit deeper and bring your arms up to a cactus shape. Good. Now, if you can, bend a little bit deeper. Don't round your back. Lift your pelvic floor. Squeeze your navel in. And maybe you straighten your arms up. The more your arms go straight, the more you have to work, especially Uddiyana Bandha. So inhale, stand up tall, straighten your legs, hands to hips. Exhale, hips back, bend your knees a little. Bend your knees a little bit more. Take your arms to a cactus shape. Bend your knees a little bit more. Arms stretch up. Inhale, hands to your hips. Exhale, a little faster. Bend, cactus, arms up. Inhale, hands to hips. Exhale, find your 3, pelvic floor, Uddiyana, navel and throat. Try 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, little chair, cactus chair. Arms up, deep chair. One more round. Inhale. Exhale. Pelvic floor, navel. Find your throat lock. Sink on down. Good. Come on up to stand. Give your arms a little swing. Good. All right. Now, we are going to turn. If you have a wall space available, turn toward the wall, but you don't need it. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. We're going to do this right on our mat otherwise. So we're going to step ourselves to a tiny little lunge, and if you have a wall, let's take our right foot close to the wall, our hands to the wall, and our left foot back. If you don't have a wall, lean out over your right leg and take your hands to your right thigh. Left foot steps back. Now stack your right knee over your right ankle. So you can be here, pushing the wall away. We're looking for a calf stretch. All those heel lifts we did, start to really strengthen your calf muscles. So stretch and open the muscles at the back of your left leg. Now, take another deep breath here. Good, and then we're going to change sides. So step your left foot close to the wall or forward and your right foot back. Hands pushing against the wall if you have the wall. Hands on your thigh. Otherwise, stretch your right heel back and down. Avoid letting this left knee come forward of your ankle. Good, breathe. Don't need a ton of core strength here, although we will start to add that on. But since you're leaning into the wall or leaning onto your thigh, we're just giving your core a little bit of a break. Take another deep breath. Good, and then step your feet together and come back onto your mat. So if you're struggling with balance when you lift your heels, of course, feel free to step close enough to a wall to hold on. So we're going to do this 3-stage chair pose one more time, but this time, if we can, with our heels lifted. Okay? So take your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift your heels up. Now pause for a moment and try not to pronate or supinate your foot. In other words, don't roll your ankles out. Don't roll your ankles in. Take a breath in. Now find your 3 bandhas. Pelvic floor lifts, navel in, throat back. Exhale, we're going to do tiny chair, stick your butt out. Then a deeper chair, arms to cactus if you can. Then a deeper chair, arms come up. Set your heels down, inhale, come up to stand, hands to hips. Exhale, lift your heels. Find your balance for a moment. Take a deep breath in, lift your pelvic floor, pull your navel in, pull your throat back. Exhale, if you can, keep your heels lifted. Don't rock your ankles out. Sink down a little. Now sink down a little bit deeper. Keep breathing. Bring your arms to a cactus shape if you can. Don't lose your core strength. And if you can, you sink down a little bit deeper. Don't roll your ankles in or out. Oh, amazing. Set your heels down, hands to hips. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, lift your heels. This is our last round like this. Lift your heels, pause, and stabilize your ankles the best you can. Find your pelvic floor, your navel, your throat. Now bend your knees a little, stick your butt back. If you can keep going, bend your knees deeper, lift your arms up. Tighten your navel in, and if you want to go deeper, squeeze your pelvic floor a lot, navel in, throat in. Oh, come on up to stand. Give your legs a little jiggle. Good. Now we're going to do that calf stretch one more time, but this time with a little bit of balancing work. The more you shift the weight of your body away from your central axis, the more you need your core engaged. So we're going to step our right foot forward again, and if you need to take yourself to the wall for support, do. Right foot forward, right knee over the right ankle, left foot just a little bit, let's say maybe 3 feet behind your right foot. Now, you can hold the wall or you can hold your thigh here, but if you can, take your hands to your hips. Lean at about 30 to 45 degrees out over your right knee. And now really start to lift your pelvic floor. Pull your navel in. Now as you inhale, lift your right heel off the ground. Keep leaning. As you exhale, set your right heel back down. So try it again. Inhale, lift your right heel. Find your 3 core points of engagement. Exhale, set your right heel down. Try one more round. Lift your right heel. Inhale, you're still leaning. Exhale, right heel down. Now we're going to come up to warrior one. Take your arms up by your ears. If you can lunge a little deeper, then wiggle your right foot forward, 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 and keep bending your right knee deeper, deeper, deeper. Keep your left heel grounded. Arms are up. Good. Now, in order to avoid taxing your low back, you need a lot of pelvic floor and a lot of navel squeezing in. From there, pull your throat in and lengthen your neck. Keep breathing. Take another deep breath all the way in, all the way out. And then step yourself over to your wall. Okay? If no wall, you're going to come down onto your mat on hands and knees. Okay? So if you've got a wall there, step your feet back a bit. And we're in plank at the wall. If you're on hands and knees, you can walk your knees back behind your hips and find your plank on hands and knees, or full plank if you like. Good. Now, lift your pelvic floor muscles. Squeeze your navel in and pull your throat back. Stretch your shoulder blades apart and just hold for a moment. It's a bit of a resting pose in a way. If you're down on your mat, it might feel a little bit more vigorous. But it's just a reminder of those 3 points of engagement that you want to support your spine, to keep your spine really long. So you're not bending or bowing your spine in any way. Take another deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then step away from the wall or come back up to stand if you went down on your mat. And we're going to do our second side, little short warrior one. So hold the wall if you want to. Left knee now, left foot is in front, right foot behind, left knee over your left ankle. You can get yourself settled in for a moment by holding the wall or taking your hands to your left thigh, but then if you can, hands to your hips, flatten out your back. Try to stretch your spine long. You're leaning out over your left leg. Now inhale, lift your left heel. Notice if your ankle tends to rock out or in. Try to center it. Exhale, set your left heel back down. Try it again. Use your core. Inhale, lift your left heel. Good. Exhale, set it down. Try to push down to the base of each of your toes. Try one more round. Inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale, set it down. Now we lift our spine up to warrior one. Take your arms up by your ears. Good. Left knee is bending, right leg straight and really strong. Lift your quadriceps, press your right thigh back. Push your right heel down and start to lift your pelvic floor. Pull your navel in. Pull your throat back and stretch your spine a little bit longer. Keep reminding yourself of those 3 supportive points of engagement for the base of your spine, for your low back around your navel, and for your neck as your throat pulls in. Take another deep breath in. And exhale, come over to the wall, step your feet together or lower yourself down. We're going to do a few push-ups now. So step your feet back. Hands are in your plank position, wrists in line with shoulders. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, lean into the wall and push away. If you're down on the mat, then you can do your push-ups kneeling. You can do your push-ups with knees lifted. Okay? Keep on going, but don't droop in your middle. The tendency here as we do plank push-ups is especially to let go of our center around our navel. So really squeeze your navel in, pull your throat in, lift your pelvic floor muscles. Good, let's take one more round, little push-up. Good, and then we'll come away from the wall or come back up to stand. All right, heart rate should be getting up a little bit. All right, we're gonna try now a tree pose. So it's really simple, but we warmed up a lot of muscles in our core and in our lower body to help us feel stable. Feel free to hold on to something if you need to. Put your weight into your left foot and bend your right knee a little bit and tilt your right knee open to the right. Now lift your pelvic floor. That should help you really lift your low back out of your pelvis and pull your navel in and grow your lower spine a little bit longer. Pull your throat back. Now if you want to keep going, and bring your right foot up and either set it on your lower leg or use your right hand and pull your right heel up towards your pelvic floor and set your foot on your inner thigh. Good. Lift your pelvic floor muscles again. Pull your navel in again. Push down into the base of each of those left toes so you're not swaying your ankle out or in. Bring your arms to a cactus shape. The higher you lift your arms, the more your core has to work. So if you want to start to straighten your arms out and up, squeeze your navel in a lot. Good. Throat back. Try not to thrust your head forward. Beautiful, guys. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Bring your arms down. Set your right foot down. Give your legs a little jiggle. All right, let's do our second side. Shift your weight into your right foot, bend your left knee. Tilt your left knee open, and first just find your pelvic floor muscles and lift your low back out of your pelvis. And then pull your navel in, throat in, and then if you want to keep going and pull your left foot up a little higher, do, but try not to sag. We're trying to resist gravity the whole way along our spine. Hands can start at your heart. You don't need to resist gravity in your shoulders. Let your shoulders drop down. Good. Now breathe and really pull in. Pelvic floor, navel, throat. Maybe you switch to cactus. Your arms will lift your ribs, and as your ribs lift, you need your navel support more. So maybe your arms come out and up now. Straighter arms. Squeeze your low ribs in. Drop your shoulders a little bit. Notice where your head is. If it's pushing forward, pull your chin in. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Bring your arms down, your left foot down. Give your legs a shake. Good. All right, stand yourself at the short edge, the back edge of your mat. Good. All right, take a deep breath in. Take your hands to your thighs, and as you exhale, hinge forward from your hips and put your hands, heels of your hands, are right up high on your thighs. Bend your knees a tiny bit and push your hands back. Now we're in a half forward fold, potentially with a hamstring stretch. Depends on how tight your hamstrings are today. Now, we really want most of our flexibility in our bodies to come from our hips and shoulders rather than from our back. And it's good to have some back flexibility, but I see a lot of people in forward folds leading with a round of their spine. So this pose is just reminding you of where this forward fold should initiate from your pelvis. Maybe now your hamstrings are letting go and you start to hinge a little bit deeper. Maybe your hands come down to the mat. Keep a flat back. Pull your navel in. Even your pelvic floor muscles can lift a little bit. Stretch your spine out a little bit longer. Look down toward the floor and pull your throat back. Good. Try 2 more deep, slow breaths, keeping as flat a back as you can. You can certainly still have your hands on your thighs if that feels safer to you. Now we're going to bend our knees and bring ourselves down to our mat. All right, so a tabletop position. Good. Now, our stability muscles assist our core muscles. Let's feel that in a bird dog. Take your right leg back, lift it up. Take your left arm forward. Pull your throat in, pull your navel in. Tiny little lift of your pelvic floor. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, bring it down. Good, left leg goes back, right arm goes forward. Look down, pull your throat in, pull your navel in, lift your pelvic floor. Take a deep breath in, and exhale, bring it down. Let's go side to side. Inhale, right leg and left arm. Exhale, back down. Inhale. Left leg, right arm, find your 3 bandhas. Exhale, bring it down. Let's try another round. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Exhale down. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Exhale, back down. Now we're going to do another round, right leg, left arm, but this time we're going to hold. And we're going to try drawing a little box. Move your right foot out to the right a little bit, left arm out to the left a little bit, lower down a couple inches, squeeze in toward the midline a couple of inches, and lift up. Try it again. Go out to the side, go down, squeeze in, lift up, out, down, in, up. Maybe you can start to make circles instead of squares. Now, find your 3 bandhas. Throat in, navel in, pelvic floor lifts. Good. Tinier circles are better. Good. And last circle around. Set it down, take a child's pose. Feel free to widen your knees, shift your hips back to your heels, bow your head down, and breathe for a moment. Relax your core. Good. Take a couple more deep, slow breaths. Just catching your breath. Giving your body a moment to process before we try it again. All right, now come on up to hands and knees. Let's try that second round. Take your left leg back, lift it up. Right arm forward, lift your pelvic floor, pull your navel in, pull your throat back. Take your right arm out to the right a little bit, left leg out to the left, then lower down a bit. Squeeze in, lift up. Draw in tiny little boxes, only a couple of inches in each direction. After your next box, maybe you make it a circle. Going a little bit more fluidly will throw your balance off a bit more, and that will cause all your stabilizer muscles to engage. But really lead with your 3 bandhas. Pelvic floor, navel, and throat. Good. One more circle around. And child's pose. One more time. Shift back and breathe deeply. Good. All right. So let's take another deep breath here in our child's pose. And then come up to hands and knees and lower down onto your belly. Lower down onto your belly and rest on your chin or forehead. We're going to get ready for a few locust pulses. Locust is going to engage the back of your core, but you need the front of your core to help support you. So first, take a deep breath in. And exhale, lift your pelvic floor muscles, squeeze your navel in. Keep that. Now inhale, lift your head, lift your arms in this W or cactus shape, bent elbows, lift your legs. Pull your throat in, pull your navel in again, lift your pelvic floor again. Take a deep breath in, lower down. Squeeze your navel and your pelvic floor in, and as you inhale, lift again and pull your throat back. Exhale, lower down. Try a few more rounds. Inhale. All 3 bandhas engaging. Lower it down. Good. Squeeze in. Lift up. Don't forget about your neck. Pull your throat back. Lower down. 2 more rounds like that. Lift and lower. And 1 more round. Lift and lower. Take your hands to your side ribs. Press up hands and knees. And then you choose child's pose or downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees and stretch out your spine. So downward facing dog is a good pose that reminds us of how we need to resist gravity to really lengthen our spine. So now you're resisting gravity upside down. When we were standing, you were lengthening up through the crown of your head. Now reach up and back through your hips. Use the power of your thighs to press your thighs back and open your hamstrings. Bow your head down, but use the strength of your arms and shoulders to keep stretching your spine out. Really nice and long. Now, if you're not in downward dog and you'd like to take a little flow between down dog and plank, then come on up. You can do these from hands and knees if you prefer. So inhale now, we're going to come on forward to plank pose and find your 3 bandhas. You might be on hands and knees, absolutely fine. Throat in, navel in, pelvic floor lifts. Take a breath in. Exhale, go back, downward facing dog, and stretch out your spine. Inhale, come forward to plank. Find your 3 bandhas. Don't sag in your middle. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Let's try 2 more. Inhale, come forward. And exhale. Take it back. And 1 more. Inhale, come forward. And exhale. Take it back. Good. Lower to your knees. All right, I would advise some padding under your knees. We're going to do a quick lunge here. So stand up on your shins. You might need to hold on to something for support. Step your right foot forward. And wiggle your right foot forward so that your left hip can start to lean forward in front of your left knee. Now, you could lean your forearms onto your right thigh. Or you could drop your left hand down to the mat if you can easily reach. Yoga blocks can be helpful here if you can't easily reach the mat, but if you don't have them available, feel free to stay up a little bit higher. Okay. Now, let your left hip drop a little bit. Let your left hip drop. Let your outer left hip roll down just a little bit. Good. Start to breathe and look for a stretch in the front of your left hip and thigh. Good. Now, this might be where you stay for a few more breaths. This can be a plenty intense stretch. But if you'd like to get a quad stretch in while we're here, then we're going to move slowly and gingerly. Move your hips back a little bit. Reach your right arm back so your left hand is on the floor. Right arm reaches back. Then gingerly bend your left knee and see if holding that left foot with your right hand makes sense to your body. If it doesn't make sense, then you're here in your lunge for a few more breaths. No problem. Okay? If you're here, you've moved your hips back a little bit. Squeeze your navel in just gently, lift your pelvic floor gently, and then maybe your hips start to sink down again. Just a slightly deeper quad stretch, slightly deeper hip flexor stretch. Try about 2 or 3 more breaths. Make the choice you need to make for your body. Good. Last one. Now, let go if you have that quad stretch. Bring yourself back to sit. Find your strap and come onto your back. Send your strap over the ball of your right foot. Straighten your right leg toward the ceiling. The strap is over the ball of your right foot. Straighten your right leg toward the ceiling until you start to feel a hamstring stretch, and don't overdo it. Started with our left knee bent, but if you're comfortable straightening out your left leg and letting it rest on the mat, go ahead. Now this is simple. We just hold here and breathe for a moment. The only thing I want you to think about right here is the shape of your spine. So let your head rest back so that you have a neutral curve at the back of your neck. Good. Gravity will help your navel to draw in a little bit. But notice if your low back is completely flattening into the floor. If you can, the tiniest bit, don't try to do a big back bend here, but the tiniest bit, tilt your pelvis forward just the tiniest bit and make your low back a little bit lighter on the floor. That should give you a deeper hamstring stretch. And now you can stretch your hamstring without losing your inward low back curve, that natural inward low back curve. Good. Try 2 more breaths like that, as deep as you can, nice and slow, just thinking the tiniest bit about lightening up your low back. And after your next exhalation, bend your knee, take your strap, set it to the side. Hug your knees in and rock a little bit side to side. Good. And then rock yourself up. And come onto hands and knees. Pad your knees with something. We're going to do our second side lunge. So step your left foot forward. Take your hands to your left thigh and wiggle that left foot forward so as you start to lunge forward, your right hip comes in front of your right knee. Now, you can keep leaning your forearms on your thigh, or you can drop your right hand down toward the floor. And let your right hip drop a little bit. Let your right hip drop, let your right outer hip roll toward the floor just a bit. So we're just hinting a little bit at a tiny little twist. Chest turning the tiniest bit to the left, your right hip dropping the tiniest bit more than your left hip. Feel a stretch for the front of your right hip and thigh. If you need to, move your right knee back a little bit more so that right hip can drop. Avoid letting your left knee come forward of your left ankle. Now, from there you might stay. Or move your hips back a little bit, just so we ease in. Reach your left arm back. This is if you want a quad stretch. Bend your right knee. Feel around with your left hand for your right foot or ankle. If it's available to take hold of, then pull in just gently, but maybe drop your pelvis again. Maybe not. See where you get a good stretch. If the quad stretch isn't working out, keep breathing into your lunge. Good. Find the tiniest bit of core support here. Navel pulls in. Don't need a whole lot here because we're stretching out rather than stabilizing here, but breathe. Breathe. You're almost there. Good. One more. As deep as you can. And then let it go and find your way to sit. Clear your mat off, grab your strap, come down onto your back and put your strap up over the ball of your left foot. Straighten your left leg until you start to feel a hamstring stretch. And if you're really comfortable, you might straighten that right leg out on your mat and let it rest. So start to breathe and relax your head back, broaden your shoulder blades underneath you. Let the floor do the work, primarily of stretching out your spine, but notice as you pull your left leg in, that especially on that left side, that may start to flatten your low back into the mat. Now, that's not entirely a bad thing, and there are times when we want to really lengthen out our low back, but it's important to stay flexible through a range of motion. If you always stretch your hamstrings with a rounded lower back, that will affect your posture all throughout your day. So think about now just the tiniest little tilt of your pelvis forward. Just a hint, lighten up your low back on the floor. That may make you move your left foot forward, and that's fine. It may not be the deepest hamstring stretch that you've ever done. But get really grounded in your sacrum, and see if you can just the tiniest bit maintain a little hint of your low back curve. For about 2 more breaths, as deep as you can. Good, last one. And then bend your knee, take your strap off. Hug both knees in, rock a little side to side. Good, we're almost there. You're gonna rock yourself up to sit. And choose, I want you to choose either a butterfly shape with your legs now, knees wide, soles of the feet together, or a wide straddle, legs out wide. I want you to choose the one that gives you your best inner thigh stretch. And you may need to sit up on a little cushion or on a blanket to give yourself a chance to sit up tall without hunching. We're going to keep as flat a back as we can here. Okay, so butterfly shape or a wide straddle shape. You could hold your feet, you could hold your ankles if you're working your butterfly shape. I like to hold somewhere and pull back a little bit. That engages your lats just a little bit, helps you to lift and open your chest. And then perhaps you start to hinge forward and look for a deeper inner thigh stretch. All right, we'll take a few more breaths. Just avoid rounding your back here so that you can feel what it's like to keep good posture as you open up your inner thighs. And closing in now, a couple more breaths. Deep as you can. Here comes our last round. Good. Now, sit yourself up, bring your knees together, stretch your legs out for a moment, give your legs a jiggle. All right, we've got just two more poses. It's a reclined pigeon and a spinal twist. If you have a wall and you love to use your wall for pigeon, feel free. Otherwise, just come right on down to your mat. Right ankle over your left knee. If you've chosen the wall, you can put your left foot up on the wall. If you haven't chosen the wall, pick your left foot up and grab your left leg, your thigh, or your shin with your hands and gently pull in. And keep the back of your pelvis down on the mat. Let your head rest back. And take a moment and let your lower back lengthen. Let your lower back press down into the mat. We're going to try this pigeon stretch, both with a flat back and then with a little hint of inward low back curve. So you might rock a little bit side to side. Keep breathing. Good. Now after your next breath, just a little hint. You might need to switch your hands to your left thigh or even drop your left foot down if you're not at the wall. Try to rock your pelvis the tiniest bit forward, even as you keep stretching that outer right hip. And find just the tiniest hint of an inward low back curve. And then notice what that feels like and stretch at that angle. You might still sway a little bit side to side. You only have 2 more breaths here now, as deep and slow as you can. Good. Good. Now, drop your left foot down to the mat, straighten your left leg and grab your right knee. Pull your right knee in. Set your right foot down on your left thigh and we're going to spinal twist. Take your right knee over to the left. Take your right knee over to the left. Scooch your left shoulder blade to the left and reach your right arm open to the right. You can keep the sole of your foot, right foot connected to your left thigh, or you can let that right foot come down to the floor. If you feel like it's a strain to have your right knee hanging in the air, you could slide a blanket or a block or whatever prop you have underneath that right knee. I'm just looking to gently open up that right outer hip at a little bit of a different angle. Reach your right arm open to the right. With your left leg straight and your right knee bent, you'll keep a little bit more of a neutral curve in your spine. So feel that. Take another deep breath in here. And now rock back onto your back. Exhale, shift your hips to center. Cross your left ankle over your right knee for pigeon. And if you're at the wall, right foot on the wall. If you're away from the wall, pick your right foot up. Hold on to your right leg. And first, let your lower back really press down into the mat and lengthen out. At the same time, keep the back of your pelvis down. Don't let your pelvis rock up away from the mat. Still have a long spine. It might sway just a little bit side to side. Keep breathing. Good. And take another breath like that. And then perhaps you back off a little bit. Let your pelvis tilt forward just the slightest bit. Let your low back. It's not going to come back to its neutral curve here, but the tiniest little bit lower back gets a little lighter on your mat. Keep stretching your outer left hip. You're still pulling in with your hands if you're holding that thigh. You might still rock a little side to side, but without completely losing your inward low back curve. Just play a little bit and notice how that feels a little bit different in your outer left hip. Good. Keep breathing. Almost there now. Take another round as deep as you can, all the way in. All the way out. And then set your right foot down, hug your left knee in, so you may have to scooch away from the wall. Straighten your right leg out, put your left foot on your right thigh, and then twist by rocking to your outer right hip, guiding your left knee over to the right. At the same time, stretch your left arm out to the left, turn your chin to your left. Scoot your right shoulder through to the right, let your left shoulder drop down a little bit more. I like to hold my shin, left shin with my right hand, so I'm pulling my knee up a little bit higher as I twist, but you might need to back off. You can prop that knee up if you need to. Notice as you twist with your right leg stretched out straight, should be getting a little bit more length in your spine rather than more of a fetal position. We're stretched out a little straighter. Good. Finish up with one more deep breath in. And out. And then rock back onto your back and shift to center. Pick both feet up, hug your knees in, rock a little side to side. And we're heading for our final relaxation. So when you're ready, drop your feet, set yourself up so that you are as comfortable as possible. Of course, you're always welcome to take your legs up the wall if you like to. But otherwise, stretch out like a rag doll. Arms come out and a little bit down by your sides, palms face the ceiling. Feet and legs, hip distance or even a little bit wider apart. Notice how your legs flop out to the sides. Notice how your arms feel as they rest, if you can, on the backs of your arms with your palms facing the ceiling, and let your inner shoulders roll just a little bit toward your outer shoulders. And now feel your hips, your upper back and shoulder blades, and your head on the mat. And start to breathe and relax. Relax the base of your spine. Your tailbone, your sacrum, the back of your pelvis. And move your mind along the curves of your spine and relax your lower back. Feel your lower back curving inward just a little away from the floor. Notice the place where your mid-back curves outward again and connects back to the mat. And feel the heaviness in your upper back and in your shoulder blades. Notice the place where just at the top of your shoulder blades, your spine starts to leave the mat again. Feel the inward curve at the back of your neck. And feel the back of your head resting back. Try to relax the full length of your spine. Feel your breath rising and falling in your chest, in your rib cage, in your belly, all the way down inside your pelvis. And then relax your pelvic floor muscles now. Relax your navel. Relax your throat. Shavasana is such a nice way to reclaim good posture in our body. So you might remind yourself, even if it's the middle of the day and you don't even have your yoga mat and there's no yoga class available, just get down on the floor and lie back and stretch yourself out. So now take a deep breath in through your nose, all the way in. Sigh it out through your mouth. And gently start to move your fingers and your toes. Move your hands and feet. Move your wrists and your ankles. And then stretch your arms overhead, straighten your legs, take a deep breath in. Sigh it out through your mouth. Bring your arms down. Bend your knees and roll to your side. And take one more deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, use the strength of your arms to come up to a seat. Find your way up, sit up nice and tall. Feel that length in your spine. Inhale, stretch your arms out wide. And exhale, hands to your heart. Namaste.